effective on the Solemnity of Mary, the Mother of God, January 1st, 2023, the Chesterton Academy of the Sacred Heart in Peoria, Illinois, shall be recognized as an independent Catholic school in the Diocese of Peoria. And our good bishop goes on to conclude his letter by stating, "It is with great joy that I welcome the Chesterton Academy of the Sacred Heart into the family of Catholic schools operating within the Diocese of Peoria. Your status as an independent Catholic school recognizes the good work of the faculty and students in providing an authentically Catholic education rooted in gospel values. May your work continue to be fruitful and lead students to a greater intimacy with Christ and his church." Which is just beautiful, because it's the entire mission of why we exist, right? To form disciples. And it's a great gift for us to be on mission with you all, with the parents and the students, and to be on mission officially with our good bishop and the Catholic Church. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you so very, very, very much for being here tonight. What a great privilege it is to get to share this evening with all of you. And I thank you. I truly, deeply thank you for your presence here tonight. It is such a meaningful evening to us, to myself, to the students, and we thank you. We truly thank you for being here. At this point in the evening, it is my great privilege to introduce tonight's keynote speaker. From the very first Chesterton Gala 5 years ago, it has been our desire to present a unique gala experience, one that features the students prominently, their accomplishments, their talents, and their personalities. Hopefully you were initially greeted by one of our students when you came through the door this evening, and I hope you enjoyed the opportunity to have dinner with at least one of them tonight. I want to be very, very clear that tonight is not a show. It's not a performance. It's really about relationships. We want you to have the opportunity to start to get to know some of these students that you have been supporting, and we want them to get to know some of you who have been so kind and generous and relentless in your support of them. The evening is not a show. It is truly about those relationships. The students are truly the hosts of the evening. And although I will make a few comments here a little bit later tonight, I truly consider this next talk by this student to be the keynote address of the evening. Ms. Patricia Wada is a senior at Chesterton Academy of the Sacred Heart. She transferred to the academy last year, a little bit into her junior year, and she arrived here from very far away. She transferred to Chesterton Academy from the country of Lebanon, where she was born and raised. When I met her just a little over a year and a half ago, one of the very first things, perhaps the very first thing she told me, was that her English was not very good. And while I believe her English was much better than she thought it was quite a feat to jump into a heavy curriculum of philosophy, theology, and literature on top of an advanced math, science, and art curriculum. But it became very clear very quickly that she was not only exceptionally bright and competent, but that she also possesses a tenacity and fortitude to push through these demanding classes in her third language and excel at them. Ms. Awada has a very kind and enthusiastic presence in her school each day. She's a great gift to the school, and she brings a bird's-eye international perspective to this school. And I look forward to you getting to hear her comments tonight. Please welcome to the stage Miss Patricia.
Good evening, everyone. It is an honor to have you all here tonight, and I hope you're enjoying your evening. When I was invited to give this address, Dr. Russell made a comment about incorporating some French or Arabic into my talk, which I have done in a couple of my papers. So my title tonight is, Quel chemin choisis-tu? Which way are you choosing? I was born and raised in Lebanon and lived there for more than 14 years. Arabic, French, and English were part of my heavy load of mandatory classes from preschool through my sophomore year of high school. I used to arrive home every day after 7 hours of school and spend all night doing homework. Now that part is not very much different. Even with fewer languages to worry about, I still spend all night doing homework and managed to go to sleep past midnight. Yes, I'm still learning better time management. I transferred to Chesterton in October of my junior year, and since this was my first time taking advanced literature classes in English, it was a good thing we were reading such an easy book, Dante's entire Divine Comedy. Yeah, that was quite the journey. I used to come home from school and complain, "Mom, I can't do this anymore. I literally don't understand anything in this book. How's this man Dante in hell, purgatory, and paradise at the same time?" And thus continued my weeping journey at Chesterton. You see, I remember my parents having to drag me to come to the school because I was so focused on that which it didn't have, such as prom, homecoming, or football games. I was looking for cool friends who wanted to have fun, and I was concerned these students would be too serious, always talking about philosophy and religion and books. And I was worried about the cultural change, coming to a school halfway around the world. Before transferring, my parents and I had a meeting with Dr. Russell. Well, 5 minutes into this meeting, I was already having a breakdown in front of this man that I just met. Because I thought everyone was going to make fun of my accent and my poor English. I could barely keep a conversation alive. And I was afraid the students wouldn't accept me for being Lebanese. Lebanon? Never heard of that city before. Well, to my amazement, I was completely wrong. Never once was I made fun of for being the stranger from Lebanon. In fact, I never thought someone would be so amazed by my different accents, which I never found appealing or fascinating. Day after day, I actually started to understand what we were reading. It was during the book Don Quixote, about this ridiculous, quixotic man who goes on chivalric adventures and sees inns as castles, windmills as giants, and flocks of sheep as armies, was when I really realized what profound and intense books we were reading. And these books started to change my life. By far, my favorite story this year is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. His main character, Pip, short for Philip Perup, was a young orphan who was ashamed of himself and the people around him. He was dissatisfied with being common, while seeking for what he believed to be true happiness. He started to change himself, the way he looked, the way he acted around others, even to the point of obtaining an educational level to fit in with the people he considered more worthy. But as much as he tried, he could never become what he truly desired. I was called out directly in the face. I was self-conscious about standing out because of my Lebanese heritage. As a result, I started to act like everyone else. I began to alter my appearance to look more like everyone around me, more American. I would observe how others would ask a certain question and see how people would respond. So if I was asked the same question, I would know how to respond. It's pretty absurd, I know. But ultimately, we are all like Pip. We change ourselves for others in order to relate to and be like them. From that moment, I realized that I'm not here to act like others and blend in with them. Rather, I should love and accept myself because that's how God created me, and that's how God willed me to be. Because what is more beautiful than being different is embracing it and helping others embrace their unique personalities and purposes as well. While I've had many different opportunities to grow in faith and virtue in my life, nothing compares to what I've encountered here at Chesterton. My school in Lebanon was focused primarily on math and sciences, who had better grades and trying to consume as much knowledge as possible. While I did come out of it excelling in those subjects, but I also feel the difference that the school has to offer. Chesterton offers a well-rounded education featuring all of these subjects, but also aims to help everyone understand that they are here for a reason, and that is to grow in faith and help each other get to heaven. Chesterton actively encourages daily prayer, attending daily Mass, starting every class with a prayer, and using our voices to praise God and sing to Him is the most beautiful thing someone could be offered. Teachers and students pray for one another in both happy and difficult times. I have realized that life is not meant to simply be comfortable or only for enjoyment. I now go home knowing that my life has a purpose, and that is to exalt God and enjoy Him forever. We can experience genuine, enduring joy in the abundant life that God has planned for us by pursuing His will for our lives. You can demonstrate to God that you are ready and able to do whatever He wants of you by obeying in everything, even the small things, and in this we find true freedom. Earlier tonight, our choir sang the words of Christ, "If you love me, keep my commandments." Even the words of our choir songs reinforce the message of our classes in our faith. Even though I used to love to sing pop songs, and still do, I would have never known how much I love to praise God through singing in the choir, and I look forward to singing with our current and former students when we sing the Ave Maria at the end of this evening. I've learned in these 2 years more than I've ever learned before. Chesterton helped me build my characters in ways that are difficult to describe. I learned how to appreciate everything I have, even to the smallest things, and learned how to be grateful for the beauty God has created in this world. Before I transferred into Chesterton, I wouldn't say my life was filled with evil doings, but it was definitely not filled with things towards Him. My problem was that I lacked the ability to change despite wanting to. I tried many times, but I found myself back to my previous way of life. I'm not sure where I would be if it weren't for Chesterton. And while I was originally worried that I wouldn't find fun friends, I have found friends who are passionate, loving, joyful, and full of laughter. 2 ways are set before you, O man, the way of life and the way of death. Or put another way, to be or not to be, that is the question. In the play Hamlet, the title character questions whether it is better to exist or not to exist, to be something or to be nothing. Hamlet ultimately raises this question not only to himself, but to all humanity. God made us to be fully alive, so are we living fully for Him, or are we trying to please ourselves? This is the question that Chesterton continues to ask me. Quel chemin choisis-tu? Which way are you choosing? Or rather, what way should you choose? Have a great rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Awada, for that profound and personal reflection. Begin my comments tonight with a few thank yous. I mentioned a term last year, and I want to bring it up again. It's a term that my dad used to use. It's a term called the rope holders. And the term came from the story of when the people got together to lower the man down on his mat. He otherwise would not have been able to get to Christ. And so they open up the roof and they put ropes in the mat or something, and they lower him down for Christ to heal him. And I always really loved that term because the people holding that rope and lowering that mat down, we don't know their names necessarily. We don't know who they were. They weren't front and center in that, but if they had not held that rope, Christ would not have maybe worked that miracle, and that man's life would not have been changed in the way it was. We have a lot of rope holders around Chesterton Academy that may not be standing on the stage, but without them, this event and Chesterton Academy in general would simply not exist. First, I want to thank those who have volunteered such a tremendous amount of time and have so much talent invested in making this a beautiful and elegant space tonight. I want to thank Eric and Tammy Schultz for all of your efforts in planning this gala and preparing the ceremony. And next I want to thank David and Stephanie Rupert. David and Stephanie Rupert. For many years, David and Stephanie Rupert have helped to put the decorations together, decorate, imagine what this space would look like, and I thank you for continuing that even as your young men have graduated from the Academy. Thank you for all that you have done. Well, I'd like to thank some others who helped today in the transportation and the setup of this space. I'd like to thank Mike and Michelle McVeigh. I'd like to thank Tim and Molly Olson. I'd like to thank Rick and Lucy Twait. And I'd like to thank then Ray and Kelly Ramirez tonight as well, who I know are helping to lead up some of the takedown and the cleanup efforts after the evening has come to its conclusion. So thank you very much for that. And then finally, within our staff, I'd like to thank Mrs. Erica Higgins, who is our administrative assistant for the school, for the countless hours of detailed spreadsheet work and putting this thing together. There's so many pieces behind the scenes that she has navigated so well. Thank you for that. And then I'd like to thank Mr. Matt Kasharik for his efforts in teaching dance class. He has volunteered this year to teach our dance class and to prepare this program tonight. It has been a great gift, and the high level at which this class has been taught should be very evident by this point in the evening. Thank you for that. There's a very important group of people here who are heart and soul of the Academy tonight. The performances, the talks, the conversations that you have had tonight are a product of all of the classes, of all of the lessons, and all of the examples set by all of the faculty members of Chesterton Academy of the Sacred Heart. pretty much how the day goes around the Academy with Mrs. Higgins. I actually wish I could say I had staged that, because there could not have been a better representation of how she works. No, what you've seen tonight is truly a combined effort of the faculty at Chesterton Academy. It is the completeness of the subject material and the formation that our students receive across the entire curriculum. This would not be possible without all of them. Teachers or faculty members of Chesterton, would you please stand up? We must recognize you. I know we have a few alumni here this evening. Any alumni, former students of Chesterton Academy, would you please stand? I'd like to acknowledge you as well. Parents of students of Chesterton Academy. Parents, we know, are the primary educators of the children, and it is a great privilege of ours to get to come alongside each of you in this formation of these young men and women, to partner together. It is a great honor, it is a great blessing, it is a great joy to get to spend the days in the classroom with them each day. And I thank you for the privilege of getting to spend that time with them, and I thank you for all that you have sacrificed to send them to Chesterton Academy, and all that you have done to cultivate that virtue from which we get to reap these great benefits. Thank you, all of the parents of Chesterton Academy. I thank all of our benefactors. I thank all of our benefactors of the Academy. All of you who have fervently prayed for us, who have supported us in the spiritual battles and spiritual warfare as we undertake this monumental project. I thank you to all of you who have given so much time and so much dedication to the school. And I thank all of you who have given so generously financially to the school. To this day, Chesterton Academy has taken not a dollar of government funding at a state or a federal level. And our independent status, thank you. With our independent status as a Catholic school, we do not partake of any diocesan funds. We do not take any parish funding. And I tell you that this place, what you see tonight, would not be possible without the generosity of all of you. We are celebrating tonight something that you have all helped to make happen, and I thank you for that. And finally, but certainly not least importantly, I want to thank my wife Anna, who is standing in the back corner with our 10-month-old tonight. My wife introduced me to the Catholic Church about 20 years ago. I can't imagine my life without that. And I can't imagine having the strength for this mission without you standing by my side. Thank you. I want to consider a question that was recently posed to me by an English priest who is originally from the hometown of G.K. Chesterton. He asked me, what does it mean to have G.K. Chesterton as a patron of your academy? Seemed to me a very fair question, as that may not immediately be evident. And I told them that it means that the thoughts and writings of G.K. Chesterton are the lens through which we come to a greater living of our Catholic faith, for a greater recognition of the beauty and the glory of the world that God has created around us, and for ultimately coming to know God more intimately and loving him more. Chesterton's writings are full of wit and humor. He tells us, for instance, angels can fly because they can take themselves lightly. Chesterton's writings are full of wisdom. He tells us that the Christian faith has not been tried and found wanting. It has been found difficult and left untried. G.K. Chesterton's writings are full of wonder. G.K. Chesterton muses about the sun rising each day, and he says, it is possible that God says every morning, do it again to the sun, and every evening, do it again to the moon. And as I've read a significant number of Chesterton's works in recent years, I see these themes everywhere. But I also noticed one specific item in all of my readings of his work that was very peculiar to me. It was very peculiar to me. There are two instances of G.K. Chesterton posing a particular question, the same question on two different occasions, but each time he answers it in a different way. That question is, what is wrong with the world? In his book of the same title, What is Wrong with the World, Chesterton ends the first chapter with the line, what is wrong with the world is that we do not ask what is right. What is wrong with the world is that we do not ask what is right. In other words, we don't say, how should things be? How ought things be? And he goes on in his characteristic hyperbolic way of exaggeration by saying that what we need in this time is an impractical man. That's right, an impractical man. An idealist, not merely a problem solver who can make things work within the existing structures, but one who will identify the highest and the best and relentlessly strive for it, no matter how hard it may be to attain. As I've worked with other schools and leaders in the international network of Chesterton schools, I often see that people are desiring to start a Chesterton Academy because they're perhaps frustrated with what they see as ineffective instructional educational models. Perhaps they're frustrated with content that is being taught that is explicitly opposed to our Catholic faith. Perhaps they're frustrated with ideas that are detached from reality that we see around us in our world today. But getting away from evil is not really what a Chesterton Academy is about. No, it's not enough for us just to reject and to retreat. The question is, are we replacing it with something that pursues the good, something that pursues the highest good, something that is a positive? Are we simply talking about the errors and problems of the modern world around us? Are we inspiring ourselves and our students to see the depth, the beauty, and the richness that God has revealed to us through our faith? A Chesterton Academy is about pursuing a positive, about pursuing the highest good. You see, this is what G.K. Chesterton did. This is why his works were so incredibly appealing, is that he would boldly proclaim the errors of the modern world. And then he would offer suggestions, he would offer solutions, and he always maintained a strong hope for the future. It's true of the great thinkers of our faith. Dante tells us that it is in man's nature to rise. And though it's easy for us to get stuck dwelling on the epic drama of the scenes of the Inferno, it's very clear that he wants more for us than to just avoid the Inferno, that he wants to inspire in us a burning desire to see the face of God. And it is when Dante moves past the Inferno and closer and closer he gets to paradise that we see the heroic, beautiful, sweeping poetry that pulls us along at an ever-rushing rate towards God. Unto earth's final night from earth's first day, no deed so grand or lofty has been done by justice or by pardon, nor shall be, for when God gave himself, enabling man to rise again. And it's the message of Jesus Christ that Miss Awada alluded to at the end of her talk tonight. I have come that they might have life and have it abundantly. But this is where I want to talk about the second answer that Chesterton had to that question. There's a story that's recounted, and oftentimes it's recounted in a way that's a little bit inaccurate, but it is a true story that G.K. Chesterton once wrote to an editor of the UK Daily News, and he said that, suppose the only answer to the question, what is wrong with the world, is, I am. What is wrong with the world? I am, says G.K. Chesterton. You see, those answers are different. They are not incompatible. We must ask what things ought to be, and then look inward to ourselves, and pursue the highest good and fulfill the unique individual purpose for which God has created us. God has given us everything, including the characteristics that we need to fulfill that purpose in this life on earth, and it is our choice on how we use it. Just yesterday, as I was studying Dostoevsky with the senior literature class, we read a passage about a character who began to go through a deep conversion in his life. And as he did that, he began to desire to pursue goodness with the same recklessness with which he previously pursued vice. It's true for all of us. We have our weaknesses. It's true for every one of us. And we seek to overcome that weakness. And it's true for our students. We know their weaknesses. We seek to find us and we seek to help them overcome them. But it is also very obvious and evident that they have great gifts. And as they lean into these, this young group of men and women is one of the most inspiring groups that I have ever personally known. This is the Chesterton mission. This is a part of our mission, to help these young men and women identify these great talents to be fully alive and to praise God. And in order for us to do that, it's imperative that we know what those gifts are. At our first Chesterton Gala, we began a tradition of recognizing each of our freshman class, and through various reasons that has now become the junior class. It's interesting, I actually asked the seniors in class the other day, does it bother you that it's not a senior recognition at the gala? And they enthusiastically said, no, please don't recognize us. We had our moment and we want to pass it on. We want the juniors to know that it's their turn next. And so juniors, it's your turn. Mr. Arvin, Mr. Joshua Arvin, would you please stand? Mr. Arvin has great leadership. He has an expectation for conduct around him to be appropriate, for people to be attentive, and he is not afraid to ask or tell people to be better. He embraces activities that will help him to grow. He has grown so tremendously through these years, and on top of it, he has a warm, welcoming humor and demeanor. Mr. Salvatore Giornella, would you please stand? Mr. Gianella has a friendly and approachable personality. He can bring anybody into a conversation. He has a tremendous memory and actually will follow up on details with you from previous conversations, and you get to realize that he really is attentive and cares about what you've had to say. He brings an interesting perspective, a unique perspective to his insights in class, and is never judgmental of the other people around him. Mr. Matthew Hafner, will you please stand? Mr. Hafner has a great sense of humor that comes through in his writings and in his witty marks that he makes as you're speaking to him, but he can also quickly turn on a dime into a very serious focus. He has the ability to evaluate a problem and quickly generate a remarkably thoughtful solution. And he's always very willing to share his knowledge and his expertise with others. Mr. Patrick Hatton, would you please stand? I was very fortunate to attend Mr. Hatton's Eagle Scout Awards ceremony, his Court of Honor last weekend, and as I watched him take his oath, I couldn't help but realize that this was a man who will really take this oath seriously, as he does all of his roles and his duties. He desires to be helpful and frequently and quickly offers assistance, and he desires and strives to always show gratitude. Thank you, Mr. Hatton. Ms. Penelope McVeigh. Ms. McVeigh has the ability to have an intensely serious focus. She's willingness to stand her ground and hold on to her faith when it is challenged, and she is willing to fight fiercely for her beliefs. She also hates to see people suffering and desires to show them the dignity they possess as a child of God. Ms. Catherine Olson. Ms. Olson has a great appreciation for that which is beautiful. She has a visible sense of childlike awe and wonder for the world that God has made, and that makes people joyful and excited and happy anytime that she walks into a room. She also knows how to be very serious and stand up for other people whenever they are hurting or are wronged. Mr. Jonathan Prabhu. Mr. Prabhu transferred to the school this year in his junior year, and I know it can sometimes feel like it takes a while to be part of the community, but you have been a great gift to the school. Mr. Prabhu is very serious. He is a focused hard worker, but also has a great sense of humor. He thoughtfully considers what is right and good, that he may live his life honorably, and he is not easily swayed by other people. Ms. Catherine Russell. I've known this one for a while. Ms. Russell is incredibly well organized with an absolutely relentless work ethic. She desires to see all things and people flourish and to perform at their very best. But she also has a soft heart for any people who are hurting and suffering. Ms. Molly Schultz. Ms. Molly Schultz is incredibly honest and frank with her statements. And I know that any time she speaks, she is absolutely speaking the truth. She has a no-nonsense attitude that brings a consistent punctuality and precision of her actions, and this brings with her a reliability and a trustworthiness any time that she gives her word. Maria Velez. Miss Velez has a quiet thoughtfulness at times, and yet is able to sit back and accurately evaluate situations. We'll have these moments of great enthusiasm and exuberance, which are just absolutely contagious. She has a calm, quiet mastery, always getting things done well, and draws people to her to want to follow her and her plans. Mr. Peter Zalazinski. Mr. Zalazinski is one of the most generous givers of gifts that I have ever known, abundantly sharing of his time and talents out of kindness to other people. He's extraordinary, has an extraordinarily caring personality and sacrifices greatly in order to help others, because it brings a unique, sensitive, artistic perspective to situations and great enthusiasm. Miss Elena Zika. Zika possesses a great sweetness and desires to comfort people anytime that they are hurting or suffering. She has a great desire to see people be kind to one another and open to each other. She has a strong work ethic to accomplish many divergent activities, and she possesses a unique type of leadership gift, and that people truly desire to imitate and be like her. And then I have one last person that I would like to recognize this evening. Mr. Joseph Brom, would you please stand? I think I've known you long enough now to be able to say some of your characteristics, Mr. Brom. Mr. Brom has some mischievous ideas and plans at times. I've been waiting for this. But they're not the type that are malicious. The type that I have come to see in someone much like G.K. Chesterton himself, that is an indication of a strong intellect and wit. You've been a strong leader in your days at Chesterton Academy to call others to act in an upright way and to lead by example. You have a natural ability to build community and to build other people's confidence. I know we have a lot of juniors, and I thank you all for bearing with me through that. I was asked one time, what are you going to do someday when there are so many students who can't do that? I'm going to do the same thing. It is easy to get down as we see the challenges in the world around us, but we are called to triumph through our sorrows and rise to bless him still. Students, you give me great hope for the future. And it has truly been the greatest professional honor and joy of my entire life to work with each of you. I thank you all for this great gift. Notice it is only fitting that I invite one student up for just a few final brief comments tonight as we start to wind our evening down here. At this time, I'd like to invite senior Miss Jillian Bober to the stage.
G.K. Chesterton once said that thanks are the highest form of thought. And so the first thing that I want to do is say thank you. Thank you all for being here tonight. And thank you so much to all of you who have invested your time, talent, and treasure into this school over the years. My classmates and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the sacrifices of so many people, including many of you in this room. It's been such a gift to meet some of you tonight, but I know that there are also benefactors out there that I haven't had the opportunity to meet. It is because of all these people that I've been able to come to Chesterton, and I cannot imagine not being here. These past 2 years have truly changed my life. There are 3 major gifts that this school has given me that I wouldn't have received in the same way elsewhere. The first is a love for the higher things. It's incredible how much intellectual growth that I've witnessed around me at this school. And I don't just mean that the students here learn a lot of new facts. We also learn how to really think. Growing up, I always enjoyed school, especially reading, but I didn't exactly seek out the intimidating works like Shakespeare, Dante, or the eternally long and intimidating Russian novels. They were hard, and they are hard, but I've learned to love them for exactly that. The classes we take challenge our vocabulary and comprehension skills, but they also challenge us as people. We read these greatest works of literature, learn about the greatest thinkers of all time, study the history of humanity, and through all of it, we learn the truth about who we are as a fallen yet redeemed race. We join all of humanity in the search for truth, beauty, and goodness, using our God-given intellects to find him. And I have fallen in love with this search. I want to spend the rest of my life pursuing God through these higher things. The second gift I received from this school is community. G.K. Chesterton said that a dead thing goes with the stream, but only a living thing can go against it. In a world that tells young people to go with the stream, it is such a huge blessing to be surrounded by a community of teachers and classmates who are going against the stream. The word community is directly related to communion, and all communities on earth should be striving to imitate the communion of saints in heaven, brought together by virtue and love for God. Here at Chesterton, we are striving for this ideal. My teachers and classmates expect not mediocrity, but true greatness. We hold each other accountable to keep moving towards truth, beauty, and goodness in our words and actions, both inside and outside the classroom. It is an amazingly unique community to be surrounded with, one that is always calling me to be better and to rise to the call that God has given me. Finally, and probably most importantly, Chesterton has brought all of these things together to give me the experience of intensive character formation. As I'm wrapping up my senior year, I've had many people ask me, "What do you want to be?" But at Chesterton, I'm learning to ask the more important question, who do you want to be? It's a question I'll spend my whole life answering. My teachers and classmates are helping me begin to answer, as are the great works of literature. Being at this school has made me take a brutally honest look at myself. It's easy to think that it's enough to attend church and be kind to others and steer clear of any major sins, but we are each called personally to change the world. As Dante reminds us, though, we have to change ourselves first. We're currently reading Dostoevsky's Brothers Karamazov in senior literature class, and I started out the book hating almost every single character in it. They each commit horrible crimes and have really broken moral lives. But as I read on, I began to realize it wasn't the realistically portrayed characters that I hated so much. I hated what I saw of them in myself. The characters were driven by jealousy, selfishness, and pride. Can I honestly say that I've done better? Yet, God loves me anyway. And he sacrificed his son for someone with the same root vices as the detestable Karamazovs. Looking at the gravity of my own fallen state, side by side with God's irrational and reckless love for me, has changed my life and formed my character. It has shown me just how far I am from holiness, but it has lit my heart with the desire to give my life to God. I've been inspired to consciously look outside myself more and to work towards a deeper Christ-like love for other people. Without Chesterton, I wouldn't have had this brutally honest self-encounter. The Chesterton experience prepares you for more than just college, it prepares you for life. It guides you to change yourself so that you can bring the truth of Christ to the world. High school is a major pivot point in life. We're all on the brink of crossing into adulthood, where we'll be held accountable for making our own decisions. But it's not the end of the road. As much as I love this school, I'm getting ready to graduate in a few months. After all, Chesterton isn't an end in itself. It's something more important. It's a means to the end. But we can't do it alone. Without you, this school can't exist. It took someone else, years ago, to ask for people to get on board with the school's mission in order for me to be here at all. And now I'm standing here to be that person who asks on behalf of the future classes of Chesterton Academy of the Sacred Heart. This gala doesn't benefit me directly, as the donations from tonight go towards the coming years while I'm graduating this spring. But because I realize the life-changing gift this school has been for my classmates and me, I wanted to keep going after I leave. I look forward to coming home one day in about 18 years to talk to my littlest sister about her read of the Brothers Karamazov. I want my siblings and my friends' siblings to be able to have the experience I've been so blessed to receive. I invite you to join our mission and to make Chesterton a part of your life. Please pray for our school, and I encourage you to come visit us to see the Chesterton difference in action and find out if there's a way that you can be involved. And I'm not embarrassed to stand up here and boldly ask you all to consider supporting our school financially with a monetary donation. We have an ambitious goal tonight to raise $100,000. And through the generosity of an anonymous group of donors, every gift you pledge this evening will be matched dollar for dollar up to $30,000 to assist us in raising this goal. At each place setting, you'll find a pledge card for the Chesterton Gala and an envelope. There are also pens on your tables. Please mark your contribution under the My Contribution section. Then mark how you would like to make your payment: check, statement sent to you, stock transfer, or credit card. If using a credit card, there's a QR code on the back of the pledge card. You would need to scan that QR code with your smartphone to use this option. If you are employed or retired from a company that provides a company match, please indicate what the match will be and from what company. And then the easy part, your name, address, phone number, and email. If you run out of room, feel free to use the white space on the back of the card. Once you've completed your pledge, please place the card inside the envelope. You can fold it if you need to, and one of our students will come to your table and pick it up. Thank you so much for your support and generosity.